Here at AuthenTech Edge Consulting, we acknowledge that our work takes place on unceded lands of the traditional Aboriginal custodians, the Yugambeh language peoples within the Gold Coast of Australia. We also invite you to reflect on the land you live and work on and encourage you to research and learn about its traditional custodians.
Welcome to Authentic Life and Business, the podcast where we delve into the journey of staying true to yourself while building a thriving business. I'm your co-host, Anna.
And I'm Tanga. Each week, join us as we uncover powerful insights, share transformative strategies, and tell inspiring stories to help you create a business that not only aligns with your values, but also amplifies your impact.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Authentic Life and Business. So today we're going to be delving in and talking about breaking free from self-sabotage. So I'm your co-host, Anna, and we've got
Tanga here.
How's your week been, Tanga?
Oh, really good. We're having a good week, nice and fresh here. We're sort of like into winter now, so hope your side of the world is nice and warm.
Yes, no, it is. We're pretty fortunate to live on the Gold Coast where we've got the sun. You know, it's supposed to be winter here, but we can still go out with a t-shirt, so
Yeah,
we're
that's
pretty
not
lucky.
bad.
All right, so let's just go straight into it. I'll let you start, Tanga. What comes up for you when we talk
So
about self-sabotage?
this is a really good one, right? Because I think sometimes they just turn up as symptoms. Hey, it's often Steve Jobs says it. Often you don't get to join the dots until you're looking back. And I found myself on this journey so many times, as you have too, Anna, like looking back and going, what? I thought I dealt with that, and
Yeah.
it shows up again. So I think this is a really good conversation because it is actually it's human. It's a human experience. It's your system saying, wait, this is not safe.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to do everything that I can to keep you safe and bring you back to what we know.
Yeah, that's it. The comfort zone, staying in the comfort zone.
Yeah.
And so what sort of symptoms have you experienced, especially when we talk business as well?
Yeah, that's a good one because I think for me, I mean, even it's dropping in just as we're talking about it, even though I've thought about it for a little bit as well. But for me, it turns up like the radar goes off when I'm feeling frustrated and when I feel like I'm playing small. Like, I start comparing myself to other people and I feel like, I've maybe not spoken up or I haven't taken a step because I think, oh, maybe now's not the right time. Or maybe I'm not qualified enough and therefore I need to go get a certificate. If you look
That's
at my
it, yeah.
resume, I've got a lot of certificates and I've worked with a lot of coaches that the list goes on, with all the certificates that they've gone to get out because you feel like I don't know enough. So I'm not going to go out and take that step. I'm not going to do reels. I'm not going to get on a video, because of that fear that comes through. But the interesting thing that is, as we've gone through, I don't know if you found this, but you almost feel like you've got to feel that fear and right, this is an invitation for me that I'm going to the next level.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. It's funny because, I mean, I'm guilty of that too, is not feeling qualified enough. Therefore, I'll go ahead and do some sort of course,
Yeah.
to fill that skill set gap that I feel I have. And reflecting back on it now, it's almost as if I felt like as soon as I would get the certificate, then something magical would happen after it, and I'd be like, yes, now I'm
That's so
qualified.
true.
And you don't get that.
No.
You don't get that. Like you get the
So true.
certificate to say, yeah, you're qualified now, but there's no magical sort of experience
Yeah.
that you go through
Yeah.
or feel to get that confidence to actually go ahead and do the thing.
Mm.
So
Mm.
yeah, no, I've definitely experienced that as well, feeling
And
the
I
need
feel
to.
like, you know, if you're listening to this, particularly if you are in the coaching, consulting, therapeutic space,
Mm,
many of you will probably resonate with that because, you know, there's this term of being a professional student. You know, you're constantly going for extra letters, and maybe it's an old belief
mm,
that's been handed down through the generations, you know, that you've got to get to a certain level before you can.
yeah. Yeah, that's it. And even, we talk about certifications and getting degrees and all those sorts of things, but also just in terms of, like you said, showing up on social media. You
Mm.
can't get a qualification to show up on social
Yeah,
media, right?
that's
So then it
true.
turns to be that, oh, I don't have the equipment, or, oh, the lighting's not right, or
Yeah,
I don't have the right camera to be able to do X.
yeah, yeah,
So
that's so true.
it can go into so many different areas of self sabotage. And I will speak on something that's I've experienced recently. So, for those who don't know, Tanga and I, we operate our own consulting space, and we're at the stage now where we are hiring people to support our business. And that feeling of going out there and even saying that we're trying to find, we're hiring, I felt triggered by that. And we
Yeah.
even went through interviews, and going through that process, I felt triggered. I felt that self-sabotage come in, like, who am I to talk to this person who knows so
Mm,
much in, like, the marketing space, so we're talking about advertising and stuff like that, and someone who's got over 13 years of experience, and she's, wanting to get a role with us. A lot of resistance came up for me, and I've had to really push through that. So, when you think that you've gone through the learnings and you're like, sweet, I've learnt my lesson, it's gonna be smooth sailing. That is not the case at all. It just continues to pop its ugly head up no matter what stage you're at, right?
and I totally get that. And I think it's like when you come back to the idea that you don't have to know everything,
Mm.
but with our conditioning has been you need to know everything.
Yep.
And
Yep.
so it's almost like breaking free of that, you know, that idea, that belief. And in the money language, we say, you know, ask yourself, where does that come from? Whose belief is that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because when we get to identify that it is a belief and it is from somewhere, it means that we can turn it around so that it
Mm.
serves the version of who we are now. And I think that's super powerful because, you know, like even the idea that the people that are going to be associated and connected as partners with this business are going to know more than us. They're going to know more than us in that field in
Yep.
which we're partnering in.
Yep.
And we need that to happen.
Yeah.
And the other thing that comes with that is that they also would be remunerated or rewarded to the value that they are worth.
Yes.
It's such a big thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Uh, it's interesting because when we talk about self sabotage, this, I think, for coaches as well, when you go into the field of life coaching, you almost have this feeling like you have to have everything figured out in order to support someone else. And that's just not the case. That's not the
No.
case. And, reflecting back when I think of the life coaches that I've partnered with, where they've helped me get through some things personally, they, they were still going through their own stuff. They had their own
Mm,
baggage. And that was the thing that attracted me to them through social media and seeing what they were sharing, was that they were working through the shit.
yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And they were being vulnerable. They were sharing their learnings as they were working through the shit. So I wanted them to help me,
Mm,
even if they were only a couple of steps ahead of me.
mm. They're
That
still
was
ahead.
enough.
Yeah.
Yep,
They've
they
still
still had
experienced
learnings.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's definitely something that, especially for our coaches, just remember that. Remember that
Yeah.
you don't need to have everything figured out in order to support other people, even if it's just, a couple of steps ahead where you've got the
Mm.
learnings to then teach someone else. There's the
Just on
magic.
that too, and what's coming up for me is the reminder that probably my biggest learnings in maybe the last 5 years is the value of my lived experience.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because of course, when we're chasing the certificate or the letters or something that shows that we've learnt this stuff, is actually the perspective that we bring with that is our lived experience, something we've gone through and experienced
Mm,
and then moved through. So we've developed the answers based on our, what fits with us.
yes.
And
Yeah.
I think that's such a big thing that's super important in our businesses being successful and
Mhm.
reflecting who we are in that authenticity piece that we talk about.
That's
Hey.
it. Yeah. Yeah. So I guess I if I was to hope that our listeners, if they were to take anything away from this, it's that you're never going to have things figured out.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to constantly come up where you're like, oh, I've already gone through this learning. Why am I
Yeah.
experiencing this again? It's always going to come up. And that
Yeah.
is okay. That does not mean that you are not qualified to be able to support other people.
Mm,
Um,
It's a good indicator that you are pushing yourself.
yeah.
It's a good indicator that you are not getting too comfortable.
Mm, mm, yeah. I yeah, I'm just when we think about social media, and again, this is just another takeaway I hope that we've sort of shared on this is being vulnerable, being authentic,
Mm,
especially on social media. And this will be another topic that we can speak into on another episode, but just not being afraid to show up, especially in this space of coaching and the therapeutic. It's okay to show where you're at right now and sharing your life journey. That's what attracts the people, your
mm,
potential clients, is, showing who you are. So
mm.
there's that connection.
I was just thinking back, one of the other, when we were just learning our digital marketing skills, in that group, we had a 90-day challenge, was it?
Yes.
Just to go
Yep.
on live. But it
Yep.
was a contained group
Yep.
because, everyone was in the same community. But the challenge was every day for 90 days,
Mhm.
you would get on live and do something, say something. And it was really interesting because you do start to break through. I think I went through a period of, I started off, I needed to know the topic. I needed to know what I was going to say ahead of time.
Yeah.
And then I got to a point where I challenged myself and I said, you know what, I'm just going to turn it on and just sit there.
Yep.
And those were the ones that were actually the most authentic because it allowed for whatever was in there to come through.
Mm. Yeah.
And I didn't trip myself up because I just trusted what was coming through.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Gosh, that's going back a
Yeah.
few years
So,
now. I yeah, those 90 days,
yeah.
oh, so transformative.
Oh,
Even if it was
100%.
only like a couple of minutes, just
Yeah.
showing up on there, and especially because it was live that they encouraged you to do on Facebook, it was still so
Yeah.
intimidating, wasn't it?
Yeah. There was actually one that really stands to mind where she actually just got on the live and just stared into
Wow.
not a word said. She just stared in silence. And
Mm,
so when you started watching it, you're like, wait, what's she doing? What's she doing?
yeah.
And actually, it was really interesting because a lot of people learn a lot about themselves,
Yeah.
about the silence that this particular person created in that space.
What was coming up
What
for
was
them.
coming up for us, that insecurity of having silence.
having silence,
Yeah.
feeling like you need to always fill
Fill the space.
the
Yeah.
space. Yeah, wow, that's quite powerful, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I have to I want to introduce this Tangan. I hope you don't mind me speaking in this, but Tangan and I are currently in the process of working on creating a community within the school space. Our good friend Alex Hormozy has created, and I'm sure that some of you out there have heard of School, so the SKOOL platform that he's just launched. I think he only just launched it a few months ago. So it's a really good platform to build a community of like-minded people. So for Tanga and I, that's going to look like a community of coaches where we would come together, support each other on building businesses. So I think, just as you were saying, touching on that, the 90-day video challenge, that might be something that is beneficial to coaches in just practicing being vulnerable, what comes up for them.
100%.
So yeah, I mean, that's an idea. Please, if you're listening to this, if that's something that would be of interest to you, where you feel like you would gain a lot in having a 90-day video challenge, where you're, even if it's just for a couple of minutes, just going live in the community to start practicing, let us know in the comments below if that will be something you're interested in.
Yeah, it's super powerful.
Yeah. Well, breaking free from self-sabotage, we can go all day on this topic and all the teachings and the learnings that we've experienced ourselves and continue to experience. Is there anything else that you want to share?
No, I think, the interesting thing with that is when we've had a break from it, you actually and then you come back into it, you do another live, you're like, oh, actually I haven't lost it. It's still there. I've still got that natural ability to get on and be authentic. So I just think that you do build that muscle and it just is there for you to draw from. Because I always look back and I remember the day when I went live for the very first time on Facebook, and it took me a whole day to sit there. And my husband even, Sam was saying to me, have you done it yet? I had everything set up and I just couldn't push that go live.
The lighting was perfect. The camera was ready.
That was funny.
Yeah.
Anyway, but totally different. Yeah.
Well, please share with us. Tell us one thing that comes up for you when you listen to this episode. What is one thing that is holding you back from moving forward? Is there something that you can challenge yourself in doing? Maybe it's just showing up on Instagram stories or going live in your Facebook group. Tell us one thing that you can do today that will move the needle forward.
Yeah, that's powerful. It's an invitation. It's something that's calling out to you.
Definitely.
That only you know that you've been pushing down.
Yeah. Love it. All right. Well, thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next week for another episode.
Woohoo.
Bye for now. Thanks for joining us today. If you liked this episode, please hit subscribe and let us know in the comments below if there's a topic you'd like us to discuss in the upcoming episode. If we're not already connected on the major socials, you can find us at AuthenTech Edge Consulting. We'll see you in the next episode.